Welcome first year students. My name's Cindy Seltzer, and I'm the Director of Health Professions Advising here at Wellesley College.
And hello, my name's Lainey Flynn, and I'm the Assistant Director for Health Professions Advising and also your first year advisor.
We're here to talk to you today about health professions advising at Wellesley College. And this is if you're applying to medical school, dental school, or to any patient-facing career. So Wellesley Health Professions Advising does the following for you. So we do individual appointments, we have admissions and dean's visits, we advise about internships, fellowships, job resources. And then when it's time for you to apply, we help you with your application. And we also work with you in terms of your letters of recommendation, writing something called a committee letter, which you'll learn a lot more about as you go through your Wellesley career. We work with all students and alums, regardless of your GPA or your graduation year. So you get free career advising for life from Wellesley. And so if you graduate and you decide to apply many years down the road, we're still here to help you. And so now Lainey's going to walk you through the agenda of our meeting and what we're going to talk about in this presentation.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to be looking at the following items today. So we're going to go through your plan, your Wellesley plan for the next few years, including your coursework. We'll also talk to you a little bit how to connect and engage with your Wellesley community, Boston and beyond. We're going to be looking at some data. So what are current Wellesley students in the application process? What are they looking at for schools and how is their application process going? We're going to talk briefly about the honor code, about your personal wellness. And then we're going to give you a little to-do list. So some action items, some things that you can do starting today and over the next few months. Okay, so we wanted to start by talking to you about your Wellesley plan. So as you begin to map out what your next few years are going to look like in college, there are some things we want you to think about, including in that plan. So obviously your number one is going to be your academics. There are important prerequisite classes that you're going to want to take in order to put you on the right track to medical or dental school. We'll talk about those in a moment. But also you can choose any major. So even though there are classes you're going to have to take to put you on the right track, that doesn't mean that you have to be in a specific science major. So you can kind of choose the major that you would like. We want to encourage you to do extracurricular activities. So there's going to be a lot of different things you can do on campus. So getting involved in that way and finding the things that you enjoy, as well as that relate to maybe your interests in medicine or in health, and kind of start to think about what that might look like for you. Also thinking about experiential learning. So you will be required to do clinical experiences, research experiences, and service experiences in order to get into medical or dental school. So those are things that, again, you're not going to do right away, but you're going to start thinking about what might those look like for me over the next few years. And we'll talk to you and we can advise you in terms of what there is to offer at Wellesley. And then also your summer activities. So what will your summer look like? And this is going to vary a lot. So different students are going to be doing different things, but is your summer open? Are you looking for, again, research opportunities, summer internships, things like that? That's something you want to include when you're looking at your overall Wellesley plan. Great. So to focus in on your coursework, so you want to do your research. And again, we can help you do this, but you want, if there's a specific medical or dental school you want to get into, you're really excited about a certain school, you want to go online, you want to look at their academic requirements, right? So they may vary a little, and you want to make sure you have the courses that they're requiring. But generally speaking, there are common courses that most schools are asking you to take. So you can see those here. So first off, you're going to need 2 semesters of the following courses, including biology with a lab, physics with a lab, chemistry with a lab, organic chemistry, again, lab, math, and English. You'll also want to take social science classes because those topics will be on the MCAT. So you want to make sure that you're taking courses within those areas as well. And then you also want to have 1 semester of biochemistry and an upper level biology course. Okay, so outside of academics, you're going to want to connect, right? Connect to people on campus and abroad. So one of the ways you can connect right away at Wellesley is connecting with peers, right? So getting to know your peers on campus that might be, peers in your classes, students that are also interested in the medical health professions field or others, right? So the more people you get to know, the more diverse experiences and all of that, you'll get to know more about kind of what you're interested in and what other people are doing. And it will just make you an overall, more prepared for decisions, throughout the next 4 years. You also want to get to know your faculty members. I know that can be a little intimidating at first, but we encourage you to introduce yourself to faculty as you start up your coursework, maybe even stopping by their office hours and getting to know them, especially if there's faculty interested in the same maybe research or health area you are interested in. And then us. So we want you to connect with your health professions advising team. I'm your first year advisor. So setting up a meeting with me would be great. And we can talk through some of these things. Health professions advising also has a newsletter that we put out. And in order for you to receive that, you have to sign up for that on Handshake. So that's something you definitely want to do, as well as follow us on Instagram, where we promote and include all of the information around health education and health service, not health education, I'm sorry, career services and education at Wellesley.
And then, so also beyond just connecting with people at Wellesley, you want to make sure to get out of sort of the Wellesley bubble. And so one of the things that I recommend is doing community service experience within the Boston community. And there are a wide range of experiences that you can have. Some folks decide to have strictly clinical experiences. Others decide that they want to do something a little different, maybe tutoring or mentoring, working at a homeless shelter. But basically, you want to make sure that your entire Wellesley experience is not just on the Wellesley campus. Get out, take advantage of being in the Boston area and all of the things that we have here. And then also globally, a lot of Wellesley students do decide to do study abroad. If you're doing study abroad, you're not meant to take prerequisite classes abroad. So that does require doing a little bit of planning. In many cases, it requires doing a gap year, which is fine. And that's something we'll talk about in a little bit. There are so many wonderful opportunities for study abroad here from Wellesley. And so I definitely encourage you to sort of explore the world and get to know people who are different from you, and study abroad is definitely one of the ways to do that. So in terms of, thinking about academics and your Wellesley experience, the first thing to remember is that you need to put your academics first. And so if you find that you're having a hard time organizing everything, sometimes you have to look at your other activities and realize, okay, I might have to let something go for right now. So the academics are the first reason that you're here at Wellesley. Your other things are going to be beyond that. What I do recommend that you do in terms of engaging and connecting is finding something that you enjoy in the Wellesley community. And that can be anything. It can be clubs or organizations. It can be music. It can be athletics. It can be student government. So people have a wide range of things that they enjoy getting involved with. They don't have to be medically related. Everything sort of will help you with your medical school application. So you want to find things that you're excited about and passionate about, and make sure that you connect with a wide range of different people, and that you enjoy your Wellesley academic career. And then in terms of service, we do have a great civic engagement program at Wellesley. And so a lot of people elect to do things with civic engagement. You don't have to. You could do something on your own, like I said, in Boston, or you can do something over the summer that's a civic engagement project. But just make sure that you get out there and get to know people who are different from you, and make sure to get to know a wide range of people. So a lot of people are really curious, how do Wellesley students do in the admissions and application process? And you can see here some white coat pictures of our accepted students. And when you start in medical or dental school, you typically start with a ceremony where you get your white coat that you're going to wear during your training. You can see it's a happy day for everyone. So these are some of the schools that 2022 applicants will be matriculating into. You can see that the one that the most people are matriculating into is UMass Medical School. We have 4 people who will be attending there. And a lot of people do decide they want to go to their state school because it's less expensive. And also they really feel like they want to work with in a clinical setting with a wide range of people, and going to your state school is a good way to get tapped into the state system in terms of clinical experience. But beyond that, we have students who go to a wide range of different schools, and you can see that for the other schools, it's really 1 or 2 people who are going to each program. It tends to be that Wellesley students go all over the US. So if you're from someplace else like California or Texas, Wellesley students definitely go back to their hometowns or to their home state where they began. But then also they go kind of all over the country. And we do have a really good acceptance rate. This past year, we had 80% acceptance into medical and dental school for folks who came through our office. There's a common belief that, oh, you have to have a perfect 4.0 to get into medical school. And that's actually not true. You do need really good grades to get into medical school, but it doesn't have to be a perfect 4.0. If you're not getting perfect grades, don't beat yourself up over it. So the average undergraduate GPA from Wellesley for matriculated medical students is a 3.72, which is like an A-. The schools will look at your science grade separately, and that science GPA is a little bit lower, 3.69. Schools will look at the pattern of your grades as well. So let's say your first year, you don't do as well as you hope. Obviously, the first semester is shadow graded. The second semester, sometimes people struggle a little. That's okay. They'll look for that upward trend in your grades. So if your first year doesn't go as you hope, don't despair. A lot of people do ask about shadow grading, and we have not had any issues with students getting accepted into medical school with those shadow grades. If you take a science class, let's say you take general bio, you're going to have other biology classes that show that you understand the knowledge. And, you also have the MCAT to prove that you understand that. So schools are pretty understanding of that. Nationally, over 70% of medical school students take 1 or more years to work or otherwise engage with experiences between finishing undergraduate and starting in medical school. So at Wellesley, over 90% of applicants take 1 or more gap years. the average age of first-year medical students is 24. So sometimes we put pressure on ourselves thinking, okay, I have to get all of this done, all of my experiences, so I'm ready to apply and go direct. And the reality is that's not necessary. Once everybody did just go direct to medical school, but that's not the case anymore. Our most common plan actually is folks taking 2 gap years. And a lot of that is because people will get a better gap year position if they're able to give 2 years to the role. You can see that we have more people taking, or this past year, we had more people who took 5 or more gap years than went direct. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go direct. If you're sitting there thinking, well, my goal is really to go direct, that's completely fine. And we're happy to support you in that process. And our students who do go direct do terrific in the process. It's really more just that you can think about, how do I want to structure my undergrad experiences? How much pressure do I want to put myself to do everything all at once and to really get all my ducks in a row? And that's something that you can talk to Lainey about as you come in for your first year appointments.
Great. So we did want to mention the honor code. So Wellesley has an honor code, and you'll hear a lot about this. It's important to mention because, if you do break the honor code in any way, you will have to disclose that on medical school application. So that's something that you definitely want to avoid during your time at Wellesley. And it's something that, again, that's really important that you know and understand as you kind of move throughout your academic career. And we wanted to make sure we took a moment to talk to you about taking care of yourself and your own personal wellness. So you'll find as you move through your academic career in college, there's a lot of times that you will feel a lot of stress, and maybe you'll be overwhelmed and have a lot going on in terms of academics and activities and research and kind of everything you're trying to balance. And one of the things we want to make sure that you think about as those things are popping up and as you're making your plan for your Wellesley experience is your own wellness, right? So not just your physical health, but also your mental health and everything that goes along with your own personal overall wellness and health. So just a couple of tips for you as you, again, begin to plan your college career. When you can, you want to find time to take a break, right? So that might seem impossible at times. I know there's days that I have that I think, how can I possibly take a break today, right? But that can be anything from stepping away from a screen for 5 minutes and taking a few deep breaths. It can be exercise. It can be maybe going on a hike or finding yourself in a natural space that allows you to take a break. Really, it's different for different people what actually feels like a mental break for you, but you want to try to include that into your schedule, right? So working that into your week, when am I going to find time to give myself a break? If we go all the time, at some point, our body, our brain is going to shut down, right? It's going to say that's enough. So to prevent that, we want to try to include time for breaks. And along with breaks, fueling your body, right? So we probably know what that means. But again, when we get really busy and stressed, some of the simple things we actually forget to do. So things like hydrating, making sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day, especially on those big study days, those big homework days. If you're not feeling well, if you're feeling off, you can always check in and say, hey, have I had a water in the last hour or two, right? Have I had a healthy snack, something that's helping my brain power through, these intense academic courses I'm taking or this research that I'm doing? Fueling your body is very, very important. And again, you're the ones that are going to go into medical fields and you're going to be telling other people this. So how do we do the same thing for ourselves, right? Taking care of our body. And lastly here, finding your fun. So again, a lot of the things that you'll do throughout your time at Wellesley will be very serious, right, and studious, and we want to make sure you do prioritize those. But you also want to find things that bring you joy, right? So that you're allowing yourself, again, to take care of your mental well-being, right? Nobody can consistently do, academic work day in and day out without that break, without finding something that they're enjoying, and sustain that long term, right? So finding little tidbits of things you enjoy. For example, Wells is a beautiful campus. If you can kind of get out and walk around and enjoy some of that scenery, something like that. If you enjoy doing that could be wonderful for your experience. So again, this is going to be very different for each of you, but we think it's a really, really important part, and we want to mention it early on so that you can build it into your plan and continue it throughout your years here in college. Okay, and we kind of wanted to wrap up today with a to-do list. And this is just if you're feeling like you want to take action today, right? What am I supposed to be doing now? Well, not too much as a first year, right? We really want you to focus on your transition to college and your academics. But something you could do today, if you're ready to go, is sign up for our health professions newsletter. So that's going to be really important to you. A lot of good information comes out in that. Begin to think of ways as to how weekly you're going to prioritize your own personal wellness. Where can you do that on campus? By the middle of September, maybe you want to join a club, an organization, or sign up to volunteer. Again, this isn't going to be a lot of your time right now, or your primary focus. So maybe something around or up to 5 hours a week would be a good place to start. But especially so early on. By the end of the month of September, go to your professor's office, so at least one, even if you don't need help, right? Professors love when you go to their office hours. They make office hours just like they make advising appointments because we want to see you, right? So they want you to come. So even if you're just introducing yourself and saying like, I'm really interested in going to medical school and studying this, right? They may have similar interests or similar experiences where they want to talk to you more about that. So again, this is kind of building those connections early on and just getting you comfortable speaking with faculty. And believe me, they want you to speak to them. They want you to do that. So that's something you can do in September. And then by the end of October, I would love for you to set up a meeting with me. So we're not going to be able to cover everything in today's session. So come to me, we can talk more specifically about what you're interested in and kind of go from there. And so you can do that on Handshake. So if you haven't signed up for Handshake yet, that's where we coordinate all of our appointments. And I do appointments in person and virtually. So you can kind of do it either way.
And if I can just add one thing
Yeah.
with signing up for the newsletter, you're going to do that through Handshake, which you'll probably get access to in August. So you'll go into your Handshake account in the upper right corner, you'll click on your name, menu will pop down, and you'll choose sign up for newsletters
Yeah.
in their newsletter at that point. So if you can't do that yet, don't worry. We won't send out a newsletter until September.
Great. And if you have any trouble signing up, I can show you at our advising session, how to get onto the newsletter if you're having trouble finding that. But these are just a couple of links. The career education website has a lot of information. It's definitely something you can kind of peruse through if you want any kind of information. There's fellowships, internships, civic engagement opportunities. So everything is kind of in a hub there, and it's a great place to start just reading and doing your research into what opportunities are available. And then I included my contact email as well as where we're located on campus. So we are in Green Hall, kind of up at the top of that building, and you can always stop in and visit us there as well during the academic year. So thank you.
Great. We look forward to seeing you over your Wellesley career and to working with you.